Hello, this is Elena. Right now, the world is going through unprecedented crisis, global pandemic of coronavirus. Many small businesses are extremely suffering and are being decimated. And we as small business owners have to make very, very difficult decisions and choose one of the options out of many bad options. There's no good option here or good choice. So I wanted to share my perspective about how I make those decisions and what are some of the principles and guidelines that drive me. Number one thing that I go by is my principles. So it's very, very important to me to stick to my principles and not compromise them, even in the times of the crisis, especially in time of the crisis. So this crisis will be over someday, and I want to be able to live with myself and to still respect myself and not have kind of regrets eating me up. So that is the number one thing that I take into consideration. What is right by me before anything else. Number two is I try to make decisions based on the facts and not the emotions or fears. And I have to admit, it is extremely hard to make decisions not based on fear, because I'm afraid. Looking around of my fellow business owners and how much suffering they're undergoing, I'm extremely afraid, but I can't allow that to cloud my decisions. I have to make decisions based on reason and the facts. So let's talk about facts. The number one factor that we need to consider, number one type of facts, is medical. So the actual medical facts are very hard to come by. Right now, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of propaganda. So I would go straight to the medical professionals, to researchers, to scientists. You can talk to them. You can ask them questions. They're out there. You can read the medical research papers. You can read the World Health Organization website or CDC website. What you shouldn't operate based on is just some random messages or blurry snapshots from social media. So that's what kind of I'm looking for the actual medical facts. The second type of fact that I'm looking for is legal, right? So what are our legal obligations as the government regulates? And that's extremely difficult right now and unclear, because the governments, local and federal and state, they're coming up with new legislation and regulations, seems like every day. And the regulations are very confusing. There's no way to figure out how to implement them or what it takes. So nevertheless, I would stick to the actual legislation that was passed and try to read them very slowly and as many times as it takes. You can always go and get professional help, talk to lawyers, talk to HR experts. Honestly, even they don't really have all the answers right now, but at least if you stick to the actual law and not just the rumors or expectations, then you will be in a better position to make that decision. Number three is fact that I consider is humanitarian. So yes, it seems to be very easy to just lay people off and toss them on the street, but with the expectation that the government or social support system will take care of them. But is that the actual facts? I wouldn't assume so. So the way I test for that or check for that is I actually look at people who were already laid off. And I look for them on Facebook, actually, how they talk in the support groups, just to see if they're getting actual assistance, if they got a single dollar from anywhere, if they got actual relief from landlords, from mortgage lenders, or anything like that. So far, it's not been a pretty picture, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on it. That's an actual fact for me to consider before making the decisions. And then lastly, one of the consideration is what is the optics? What is the public perception of us? If we are the essential business, there's a lot of us, not a lot, but some of us are fortunate to be in essential business category, but there's still a tremendous amount of public pressure who maybe doesn't understand why we're essential or doesn't agree, because they're also scared, they're also traumatized, and they also do not have any facts, or at least not the clean and good facts. So what I find helps me a lot is just remembering what is it that's our purpose, what drives us, and also a contribution to community. Right now, our community is hurting pretty badly on all fronts. So if we are going out there and doing our part to support it, to sanitize it, to clean it, to give them food, to do whatever it takes, to any kind of community support projects that you can get involved, to get your employees involved. I believe like it goes a long way towards kind of neutralizing negativity that goes our way. So people assume that business owners are driven by profit. And I want to say that profit is probably the least on the list of my priorities right now. So we're definitely, and I can tell the same about all my friends, we're worried about our employees, we're worried about our customers, we're worried about our country. So there is a big misperception about small business owners or business owners in general, I would say. So if we show our true colors, and a lot of us are already supporting community, but if you can do it more visibly and do more of it, then I would say that's a really good kind of way to negate some of those negativity or ill feelings towards us. I am curious about what are your thoughts on that? Do you agree? Do you disagree? How do you arrive at those very difficult and sometimes horrible decisions? And just let me know, and let's get through this together.